Ready to roll, ready or not, ready to give it all I've got.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Team Down TV's coverage of the Cybergame MOL Asia Open ladder. My name is Sam, and tonight I am joined by Uber for Avant Garde versus No Real Danger. How are things going?
Going very well. We are straight into the action here with 5th placed Avant Garde, 10th placed No Real Danger. These guys are no stranger to each other. They've been playing each other ever since, the Autumn Series qualifiers last year at Supernova. NRD used to go under the name of TDC, which stood for Tidmart Death Crew. And it turns out that Tidmart actually just means these initials don't mean a thing. So once we delve through those layers of complexity, we get to the point that both these teams are entirely Australian and New Zealand comprised. Obviously, Avant been around for a fair while. Yeah, NRD have struggled. I think they've definitely been working at getting into the tournament scene, but they've struggled to really post any big results in the past. So I guess this is a chance for them to do it. They've got a few slappings, especially at the hands of Avant Garde. So this is their chance to start of bring it back into the green, I guess you could say. But we've got some tank picks already been made.
Yeah, these guys are no wasting time tonight. They went right into their tank picks and some interesting choices. We are here on Mines, which is, I must admit, one of our favourites. We've seen some of, probably the best games of the MOL Cybergame Asia Open ladder that we've seen so far, I think, have been on Mines, and they've all played out pretty differently to each other, I must say. So I might go through the Avant Garde side, and then we can go from there. So Freshy's gone, he's picked up his Amex 1390, a T69, 2 T1s as expected. The Pershing 2 T69. So that should be their 7 tanks rounding out there. And No Real Danger went for a T32, a 1390, just like Freshy, the 2 T1s, and two T69s. I think they got 2 1390s, as you can see. So what does that say to you, Uber?
The only difference between the two lineups here at the moment is that Avant Garde have gone for the extra T69, whereas you can see that NRD have gone for that extra T32. That's not a bad choice. I mean, it probably means to me more like they want to be a bit more defensive. The lineup of Avant Garde actually reminds me of a little bit more of what we saw from Team DPS when they went head-to-head on Mines. The DPS pulled out that crazy game where they actually went down the 3 line through the water and came up behind them, put some autoloader shells into Avant Garde. So maybe we'll see a bit of a different strategy than what we normally see from Avant, but they have gone with the Pershing there as well, I should note. And there's an extra 1390 on the side of NRD. So, I mean, I don't know, they're pretty even Stevens. I like the Pershing pick up here, to be honest. I always do. It's just really, really handy. It's got a great sort of DPM, good sight range. It's fairly quick as well. And Fresh Meat, doesn't surprise me to see him in that 39. He's a playmaker. He'll probably be leading this team, probably calling shots, so he'll want to be able to be fairly mobile. He'll be followed up with the T69s. Of course, they just bring raw firepower to this game, and a T69 generally beats a 3090 in a head-to-head if it's a one-on-one situation, just because it only takes 20 seconds to reload. It can withstand a full clip from a 1390, and it's more bouncy. So we'll have to see how that one works out. It looks like, NRD going for some mobility in the 3090s and yet picking up the T32, which indicates to me an inclination for a bit of hill play here. Using the hull down of that T32, it's got a rock-solid turret that is probably one of its defining features. So we'll have to see where that gets put. It does leave NRD open to a bit of outmaneuvering here if those T69s start to get the better of the 3090 heavy lineup of NRD.
Yeah, NRD really are. They're 10th on the ladder, Avant Garde are 5th. So this may seem like a bit of a mismatched matchup, perhaps. They certainly need to prove themselves tonight, I suppose. And this is their opportunity to do so. It's a best of 3. We're going to start off on Mines, as you can see. I think Avant are spawning in the north position, or am I wrong on that? Which
Avant from the south?
From the south, awesome. All right, and it looks like I will be spectating No Real Danger here from the north, which is correct, so there you go. And you'll be spectating Avant Garde spawning down there in the south position. Are you ready?
Absolutely, we will be. Yep, it's going to be a huge one here, and I think one thing to notice is that usually Northspawn wants to try and take the hill. They have a map-based bias in taking the hill, so that might be why the T32 was picked up here by NRD. But on the screen, obviously, is NRD. What are they doing in these early stages here, Sandman?
Looks like they're going to split up, send their T1s down that top side of the map. I'm not sure if they're just trying to get some good spotting out there. We're going to send the AMX 1390s straight down the middle. They are going for this hill here, and they're going very, very quickly. Deadman walking, rolling through. He will see Fresh Meat. He's going to see him from behind by the looks of it. I'm not sure if they're going to fire 265 damage straight into Freshy. He might be in a lot of trouble as they try and chase him. He might roll off the back there, and he does, as looks like Frederick's going to get picked up without much difficulty.
A bit of a wasn't exactly a classy landing there from Fresh Meat. He is still alive. Frederick got tracked as he went to push up there. Very risky play from Fresh Meat now trying to push up onto that hill. And he was in a 2v1 situation until Frederick got tracked down. So it was great response by Avant guys on the hill now. Both teams down a tank. But the difference is NRD are missing that crucial tier 8.
Yeah, that T1 getting picked up there. But that they're happy to trade, I'm sure, no doubt, the 1390 for that T1. We'll see the Pershing of Avant Blade here. He's just trying to get the poke on. And the T32 as well from the No Real Danger guys is just sitting behind the rock. I'm not sure if he wants to hang around here. I guess he's got some reasonable spotting positions, and he can spot out a couple of guys, but he will lose that spot now as he pulls way back. And I think he's going to get a bounce there as well. So,
crucially enough, Fresh Meat going down there of Kazuto Kirigaya in the T69. So that's probably not something that Avant intended on. I saw Fresh Meat sort of rotating back towards his base there, and Deadman Walking now has pole position there on that hill, and Blade 12 trying to make his way up there. And the Pershing's got a fairly hard head as well, especially up against the mediocre penetration of the 32. A little bit hard to punch into that tank. But now Bingo Bongo and Griffin making the move up that hill. They're going to try and take out Deadman Walking as he sits on the hill. But look at this. Wilson's going to try and get some shots. He doesn't have a lot of DPM this tank. The T32's got a 10-second reload. Look at this. The 69 and the Pershing now pushing up towards Deadman Walking. He's going to be forced to drop off that hill. Bingo Bongo now well and truly up on that hill. We saw Griffin take a shot in the rear, and Bingo Bongo also took one there from Wilson. Now Deadman Walking well and truly caught out of position now. He's going straight for Zenyatta, trying to put some shots in here, but a 30-90 against the 69, generally not good for that French light tank. Deadman Walking though gets another shot in, and he's going to have to back on out of that one. Zenyatta might be on reload here. A damage track is all Zenyatta's going to have to suffer from now, but Kazuto Kirigaya is pushing up as well with TKR. They're going to try and get some shots on the Zenyatta. 3 shots, no damage. 4 shots, no damage. Finally 1 shot into him, and that's a lot of shells wasted just to try to kill Zenyatta now, and the capture is on. It looks like, and I'll be honest here, NRD have got this one under wraps.
Yeah, those two T69s coming in down that western side actually made a huge difference there, saving out their player as he was just down to about 20% HP. The capture going out, you got the 2 T1s, I think, and AMX 1390 on the capture point as Blade here is going to come down in his Pershing. How's he going to go down to 54%? He's actually bouncing a lot here. He's way too fast for these guys. He's going to try and see what he can do. He will get tracked there down to 20%, and he should get picked up here on fire. Deadman Walking, Diamondback Rattler, and Extravagance here, all on this cap. Enemy base captured. Those were some pretty sweet plays from No Real Danger over.
Yeah, that was messy, though. That was really, really messy. I don't know if you guys wouldn't have seen it, but as we saw, I think it was Deadman Walking duck back to base and go to help out with the cap. He was on about 300 odd health, right? He's going pretty much straight across the line of fire of Bingo Bongo. Bingo Bongo's missed 2 out of 3 shells, only connected with 1 of them, and Deadman Walking wasn't enough to kill him. So Deadman got onto the cap and helped capture it out. Avant completely outmaneuvered there. Fresh Meat, I don't know why he valued that hill so hard. That's when it all started to really unravel. Fresh Meat pushed the hill, had to deal with 2 39s, which, to be honest, you expect that if you're a South spawn on mines. You expect them to push 39s onto the hill. He's forced to drop off, track himself, lose half his health, and yes, of course, NRD did, of course, lose their player in Frederick there as he got tracked down, which was unfortunate. But that's where it all started to fall apart from Avant Garde there. We actually saw them decide to push the hill in a very strange decision. Wilso got 2 free shots on that T32, which, I mean, on paper at the time didn't account for much. It didn't seem like a big deal. But all of a sudden, we saw Fresh Meat got picked off a little bit earlier than that. We saw the push by the 69s as well onto the Pershing from NRD. So they responded to that hill take perfectly from Avant Garde, and they brought that one around. It's 1-0 in favour of NRD.
I just want to point out here, Uber, that if we have a look at the battle results, you have a look, the top 2 tanks on each team are the T69s. NRD picking up 2 kills apiece with their T69s, and the only 2 tanks left alive on Avant Garde were the T69s. Were they too slow to get? They weren't too slow to get in the action because they have those kills, so they just they tanked their way through, I suppose.
Well, it says a lot about the positioning of those T69s as well. I mean, NRD pushed all their tanks so beautifully down. I believe it was the eastern side of the map, straight into the cap zone. And Avant didn't actually have any sort of infrastructure there to defend the push. We look at this as well. This is really telling. The only player on Avant Garde with over 1,000 damage was Griffin, which I expect from him being the captain. Probably one of the better players on this server. No one else on Avant got more than 1,000. Whereas on the side of NRD, we got 3 guys over 1,000 damage. So T69s chipped in well. That being said, I was pretty disgusted by the accuracy of Kazuto Kirigaya and TKRR when they got pushed by Blade. Blade actually pushed into them, right? They missed between them about 5 shots. They missed a lot of shots. I'm not over the moon about their accuracy. If we look here, it says 10 shots fired from Kazuto and 7 direct hits, and TKIR 8 and 6. It wasn't that bad, I guess, looking at that now. But when I saw it, I'm just thinking, how is this Pershing still alive against 2 T69s? He lasted quite some time. But nonetheless, we are back into our next map. It's going to be Himmelsdorf, Sandman.
It is going to be Himmelsdorf, another map that's brought us some pretty good games here over the last few weeks in our MOL Subgame Asia Open ladder. Now, this obviously map 2 in our best of 3. First game going to No Real Danger, which genuinely was a surprise to me. Obviously, I don't know the team that well, but 10th versus 5th, and Avant Garde's been playing pretty well lately. So, kudos to them. We'll see if they can pick up. They only need to pick up 1 more game out of the next 2, and we'll see if Himmelsdorf is the map they're going to do it on. I believe these tank picks here are the correct tank picks. So, do you want to take us through what we've got so far?
Absolutely. Have a look on here. It's fairly Himmelsdorf-esque. I mean, these picks don't really surprise me too much. Avant Garde bringing 2 5100s and a 110 and an IS3. Actually, 3 5100s, should I say. So that's pretty Avant. That's pretty standard, if I'm honest here. And on the side of NRD, it's 3 5100s and 2 IS3s. And Avant Garde, this is probably the second time they've gone for that 110 to supplement instead of that IS3. It doesn't have as big a gun as the IS3. IS3's got a 122mm BL9 cannon, does like 390 alpha damage, so it's a lot higher. The 110 is considerably lower. It's only got a 100mm gun, and that's about 320 alpha. So a significant difference. It's 70 damage, right? So it's a higher rate of fire though, which is why the 110 is a little bit more popular. It's 6 rounds per minute as opposed to a bit lower for the IS3. Fairly well armored, as the IS3 is. Very similar looking tanks, actually. They both got the pike nose, and they're both good in these brawling situations. It's really a matter of preference between those 2 tanks, I think. Really, that's about it. I think Avant Garde like that diversity that they have between those ones. Do have tanks with firing at different intervals as well to sort of always try and keep some shots going towards the enemy. That's why you're supplementing a lineup of autoloaders with those heavies. So, but I mean, to be honest, IS3 110. Not too much of a difference there. Obviously, IS3 does hit harder. That might be all the difference. There are so many factors that can really either render that pick impactful or not impactful at all. So we have to wait and see how that comes out for these 2 teams. But, Sandman, fairly similar lineups for this map, and I'm not surprised.
I think it's interesting. The last few times we watched Himmelsdorf, it's really come down to that first encounter. We've seen a lot of AMX 5100s on this map in the last few weeks, and every time it's who's managed to get off the first couple of volleys from their AMX 5100s, which have generally been grouped up, and that's really made all the difference. From there, they've cleaned up the map. I think the first time we saw it come through was over that far eastern side, over the top of the mountain. One team, AMX 5100s, other team, IS3s, and the 5100s really cleaned them up in that engagement, and that sort of led the victory for the rest of that game, I suppose. So I think we are pretty good to go here. We're going to get into this game, our second game in this best of 3 between Avant Garde and No Real Danger. We might shoot over to a couple ads and we'll be back with game number 1. Alrighty, we are back for game number 2, not game number 1 in this best of 3 between Avant Garde and No Real Danger on the Cybergamer MOL Asia Open ladder. Said before, my name is Sandman. The man with all the knowledge today is going to be Uber. I think I am going out here with Avant Garde, which is awesome. We're swapping it up, and Uber's going to be rolling out from the north position with No Real Danger.
Absolutely. NRD now with that IS-3, the only thing really different to the 110 being picked up by Avant Garde. Now they're splitting up fairly well. Doesn't look like a huge tendency towards the hill at this stage. 250-100 heading out towards that 2 line there just to watch down any movement over the train tracks. We're going to send a 50-100 up the hill, but apart from that, a standard and kind of ominously split start here. Kazuda Kirigaya moving up into a middle spotting position on that IS-3. All standard stuff over here at the moment, Sandman.
We have something that I would consider peculiar, which is 3/4 of the Avant Garde team stacking it in J2 and J3. And I'm not sure if they're looking for a spearhead down the train tracks or they're just waiting to counter. They are slowly moving out here. It looks like they're going to try and make their way down the train tracks here with only the 50-100 of fresh meat forward a little bit in that G3 and the spotter from the T1 out there in G7. So this might be an interesting play as they start to make their way forward along the 2 line.
NRD very light over on the 2 line, if I'm honest. Those 250-100s aren't going to stand up long to a concentrated barrage there. However, Jammo 128 been spotted in that T1. I'm Psycho also spotted up the kill as well. See Jammo take a bit of damage. A blade will pick up Extravagance there. And I think Fresh Meat was spotted earlier on by NRD now. We can see Kazuda Kirigaya is coming across to help. So now we've got 250-100s and an IS-3 here. Looking to receive what may well be a push here. And we can see Kazuda just getting a bit of side scrape action going on here. Not a huge amount of movement for the rest of NRD. They are waiting for this push. Jammo again lit. There is the push coming through. Zenyatta and Blade are coming through. The 110 and IS-3. We can see the 50-100s are staying back and out of danger. Deadman walking and TKR trying to push back. Shots coming over them. Nothing connecting yet. There's the first one. Oh, Kazuda Kirigaya goes down very low to 7-5. 7 now shots coming back towards Fresh Meat down to 7-4-5. The 110 and IS-3 crucially untouched so far. And oh lord, TKR down to 186. Caught with their pants down, NRD. And at this stage, it's all about Avant now. They have the momentum. They are able to push into this. NRD need reinforcements and they need them now.
It looks like the IS-3 Avant Blade is going to make his way through. We have Zendi here in the 110. Just, Zenielda? Anyway, he's sitting here. He might be pushing through in his 110. The 5100s are going to come through as well. The IS-3 here is going to get picked up, I think, as both of them going to get sandwiched in here. One goes down. Here's the second one about to blow up, I can only assume. 310 damage down. He's down to 37%, down to 15%. It's only a matter of time here, surely, as the friendly base capture actually does come out for NRD. So that's out to 15% as the 110 here does get tracked up.
Wow, absolute decimation right now. We can see the TKIR finally drops now. Deadman walking on 981. I don't know what he's trying to do. Maybe try and assist the capture here, but Bingo Bongo is hot on his trail. Deadman is just going to get shot in the rear end here. I think he realizes that to a certain extent. And we can see Diamondback is the man trying to get the cap on right now. It just doesn't have time. I mean, Griffin's going to come back. He's in the 5100. 5100 is left. Himmelsdorf, you can relocate so damn easily. DMW, super low now, down to 100. He'll just limping away from Fresh Meat. Fresh Meat possibly on the reload there. So, no, he's just playing with his food. 2 left now. Diamondback going to get crushed. Also, last man standing. He is about to drop as well. Complete and utter domination from Avant Garde this game.
That was a really nice play from Avant Garde there. Obviously, that desperation T1 try to capture here coming out of NRD, but that is going to give the victory very quickly over to Avant Garde, absolutely destroying. As you said, those AMX 5100s proving their worth here. You see 3 kills and 2500 damage going out to Griffin. It's pretty impressive, I must say.
Must be Caster's curse because both teams I've been spectating so far have actually lost. But this is really simple. This game is actually, for me, it's a dream to analyze because it was very simple. Avant pushed one spot, okay? They pushed it quickly. What we actually saw in the initial stages was TKRR and Deadman Walking committed. They moved out to that C3 area. I think they moved out from their base, right? In a very common spot, very popular spot as well. But they weren't ready to be pushed so hard. And the Avant Garde approached in a highly sequenced manner. T1s went up the train line first, got the spot. Blade picked up the first kill. Then it was Zenyatta and Blade pushed up. Those IS3s got the spots down. And what we saw then was Griven and Freshmeat, if I'm not mistaken, waiting to lay down that fire straight towards TKR and Deadman walking. Straight away, in a matter of seconds, we had an IS3 almost dead from NRD. We had a 5100 almost dead. A lot of shots missed and not many shots fired, in fact, in total. Here you go. Wilso, with the highest amount of damage on NRD, only hit half of his shots. A lot of these tanks only got 2 shots off IS3s. I can deal with that. That's fine. But you've got a 5100 here, TKIR. Only 6 shots fired. Only 4 of those penetrated. Deadman walking. 3 shots fired. Not even a full clip. He's driving an autoloader. You can just spam them. And over on the Avant Garde side of things, I guess you've got that up on screen. Griven, huge game. I expect that. Zenyatta on the 110 with 1653 damage. That is 6 penetrating hits, Sandman. He did some serious work that game.
I just want to say that I didn't bottom out on the ladder. I just want to put that out there. I don't know how. But I am second from the bottom, and I am impressed with my talents. So we're going to move on over back in. Let's have a look at this tank select. See how the guys are going. We are going to be playing Cliff. Have we seen that before on our competition, on our MOL ladder? I'm not 100%.
Yes.
Once.
We have once, that's right.
Yeah.
And even then, a few teams are playing it. I know teams like Num, Avant, DPS, One Blood, they are enjoying it. It's a great map, dude. It is really, really good. I love the way that this has been included. It's got so many opportunities here for laying down crossfires is the be-all and end-all on this map. You lay down crossfires on the enemy team, so you put the enemy in a position where you have tanks that can fire and not be fired back on, as well as tanks that maybe be taking damage. You're loving life because you can nuke tanks down so quickly. If you look at the map, you see that hill. If the enemy tries to push up to the hill, you can use that western side of the map where the donut is and that little hillock to actually get tanks in position to shoot sort of across onto the enemy side. I digress a little bit here as we'll look at some tank picks, but just keep an eye out for the setups here in this game. Avant Garde, they bring the 3090, 369s, and a Pershing, the same rollout that they had for Mines. Now, that failed them that time, but I feel like it was more of a gameplay-specific error than a tank pick one. What is being picked up on the side of NRD?
Yeah, if we swap over to the other side, we can see we got those 3 1390 picks coming out, only 2 T69s and the 2 T1s. So a little bit of a different lineup as compared to the Avant Garde side. See, massive difference in the number of. I suppose there's no Pershing. There's only 2 T69s and an extra 2 1390s. So how was the difference between those 3 1390s as opposed to 3 T69s and a Pershing? How does that play out differently on this map?
It's a lighter lineup, first of all. T69s only have 4 shots in their autoloader. They're both autoloading tanks. T69s only have 4 shots, so they're not usually able to put down as much damage in that burst. 3090s have 6 shells. But 3090s are ridiculously squishy. A T69 will 8 times out of 10, I'll say, beat a 3090 in a head-to-head. They've got more armor. Okay, they're just harder to dig out. And a 3090, to be honest, even with gold rounds, kind of lackluster in their firepower. They're not that impressive tanks. So it's a lighter lineup, absolutely. The Pershing here will probably use the hill. We'll probably try and use its hull down. It's got good gun depression to get some cheeky shots just over and to do some spotting. It's going to be about maneuverability here in this map. It's not about pushing one line with a massive lineup of heavy tanks. It's not about finding a weakness and hitting it. It is about setting up. It is about finding positions you can be in where your opponent is unable to respond or where your opponent could be shot from multiple angles. So I want you guys to watch Sandman's minimap here in this one. Let's talk about where those tanks are spreading out because it's going to be so crucial on this map.
And it is game number 3 here, Uber. This is the third and final game. NRD picked up game 1. Avant Garde rolled through and destroyed NRD for game 2. And this is game number 3. So it all comes down to this one. If NRD can pick up Avant Garde here, they're going to pick up a large number of points on that Cyber Gamer ladder. And they should jump a few positions. So this is a pretty big deal for them in regard to this ladder. In regard to finals coming out in the not too distant future. And their placement on this ladder. So it's a pretty big deal. We'll see how they're going to go. And they are actually rolling out pretty quickly here. We'll see if they're going to split up or not. We can see the T69 here coming through at the start, in the beginning, at the lead, I suppose. And they are going to, by looks of it, head down this 1 and 2 line, leaving their 2 T1s in the back.
This is strange. Avant are doing exactly the same thing. That's why I'm rolling out here. And Freshmeat is at the head of the pack. He's pushing down. Spots go out. Frederick got himself in there nicely. Shots are ringing across. Frederick down 885. There goes a T1. That's really not much to write home about now. Because Kirigaya takes one shot, takes two shots here. TKR tried to do it from the backlines there as well. He's taking a lot of damage as well. It's all a lot of chaos right now. TKR Blood finally gets around the corner there. Frederick wants to have a go as well. Hardly any reply damage back on Avant Garde. NRD getting decimated in a head-to-head firefight there. First casualty goes towards Freshmeat. That's Frederick, who has dropped the only tank on Avant. Okay, there's two tanks that have taken significant damage on Avant's side of things. Whereas NRD are limping this one now. We can see Blade is pushing in with that Pershing. Gonna bounce a couple shots as well. Hasn't taken any damage. Those 1390s. I don't know if they've got much in the shell. They're trying to pick their targets here, Sandman. But they just don't have the firepower right now. Blade held down behind Frederick's dead tank. Xenion are pushing straight in. He's taking a lot of damage. It doesn't have to be tactical, this map. What the heck? They're just pushing into each other. This is not normally what you see on Cliff, but I guess when two teams are set up in the same way, it just happens. And NRD losing out big time. Remember what I said? 69s lose to 1390s almost every single time. And not only that, but Avant Garde just made shots. Absolutely, only two T1s left. NRD living up to their name there, not really doing any real damage. Avant Garde all over this one, and it was just because their firefight was better. The pressure situation favoured them.
It was actually a really interesting scenario. We saw that NRD swung round to the left-hand side and got themselves kind of boxed in that gap there. They'd sent one 1390 over the top, on top of the hill there, but by the time he got there, the firefight was pretty much over. And they just got themselves in such a poor position, got outgunned, and that was the end of the story. I think it's actually very sporting here to see Avant Jamo here trying to take that T1 versus T1 battle, and not just throwing in like a T69 or a 1390 to do the damage, as that friendly base capture is going to come out here, and obviously that is the end of our match. So Avant Garde going to pick up the second and the third game in his best three to get the victory, and the last two games, I must admit, were won in pretty convincing fashion, Zuba.
Absolutely, and very, very quick. And this is what happens when you do this to Avant Garde. I mean, they will win most of the time if you put them in a straight firefight. They are coordinated, they are drilled, going all the way back from Clan Wars in Panzax. These guys know how to do your bread and butter tanks, which is shoot the other tanks. With autoloaders, like they had a lot of shots missing from NRD. They got caught with their pants down, Sandman. Like you said, they went for that donut. They went for that E2, F2 spot. They committed and they pushed in. I don't know why they committed. Generally, a rule of thumb in World of Tanks esports, and I'll let you guys take notes here, is that you do not commit to any position unless you have sufficient information about the enemy's movements. They did not have that information at all because it was the first 20 seconds of the game. I think they tried to, maybe pull the wool over Avant Garde's eyes, or maybe just come up with something before that they could respond to it, but that's not really what I call strategy. That's called throwing caution to the winds. And I like these guys from NRD, and I think individually they're all fantastic tanks players, and I will happily put that in writing for you. But that was not a good display at all on that map. Avant Garde made it look really easy.
Well, fortunately for them, they are going to have the opportunity to come back and have a look at that one in the replay, Uber. As we said, that is a defeat to NRD. Quite convincing victory going out to Avant Garde. Look at fresh meat there. Yeah, you will see NRD put out basically no damage. And it wasn't even like huge amounts of damage come out from Avant Garde. They all just took a share, 1000k a pop, and cleaned up in the end. Again, fresh meat taking the lead for his team. He likes to be the head of the spearhead, doesn't he, Uber? And he cleaned him up.
Exactly right. That's why he polishes his head nightly, I think, just to maybe blind the enemy team as he comes in. But look, yes, I mean, five tanks on Avant Garde here. In fact, all of their tier 8s got more than 1,000 damage. None of NRD's did. And, these 3090s here only getting off 4 shots apiece. 1 shot from Frederick, 1 shot fired before he died. 4 shots from Deadman Walking, only 2 penetrations. That's not going to work, especially when you've got 69s that were in position and ready to take shots, man. It's fairly simple. It's mathematical, and Avant Garde absolutely coming out on top in those last 2 games. And I think they just made that first game look like a bit of a brain fart. I don't really think it's too much to write home about. These guys are in form.
Absolutely. So this is our first best of 3 for tonight. We do have another best of 3 coming up on the MOL Cyber Gamer Asia Open later. That will be LXG versus NUM. Now, this is the Asia Open ladder, which is open to all teams within Asia. I won't say Oceania for you this week because I know you'll freak out. I actually don't think it's a real thing. I may have made it up. It's not the point. Okay. We also have a new ladder, the MOL Cybergamer Australia-New Zealand Open ladder, which is open to teams, as it sounds, in Australia and New Zealand, or perhaps even Oceania, for those of you who like to say that. And I think it doesn't have some of those really top-tier teams that you might see coming in from the Greater Asia area, which means it's a great opportunity to get involved with a relatively new team. So if you're keen to do that, head on over to cybergamer.com.au, go through, have a look at those World of Tanks ladders. This one, again, sponsored by MOL, which is we're very, very appreciative of. Get involved, have a look, and we'd love to see some more teams there. I think some of these guys are taking a step back from that ladder and letting some newer teams get involved and to get their chance. There's some awesome in-game gold prizes there, courtesy of MOL, so take a look. So guys, we will be back with game number 2, LXG v NUM, very, very shortly. As soon as these guys are ready, don't go anywhere. This is the MOL Cybergame Asia Open Ladder.